Hey, Jack, how come you're still a guest?
Yeah, that's just the way it comes up in Teams for some reason.
So it's better than not being a guest, I guess.
Okay. It's 5:30. We can get started. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining our regular PSB meeting on today's Tuesday, February 9th. So roll call. Looks like everyone is in attendance. Any disclosure of interest this evening? Okay, none seen. We can move on. Confirmation of agenda. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the agenda? Any concerns, additions? Okay, seeing none. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the February 9th, 2021 agenda as presented.
Okay, could I have someone move that? Bill, seconded by Toby. All in favor? Okay, that's great. Thank you. It's carried. Pete, it looks like you're off video. I'm not sure if you knew that or not. All right, that's carried. Thank you. Move on. Adoption of the minutes from January 12th and January 28th. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those? Any concerns, errors? Seeing none. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts the January 12th and the January 28th, 2021 minutes as written.
Any comments, questions? Okay, I need someone to move.
I'll move.
Okay, Jack and Toby, and all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. All right, delegations, there are none this evening. So move on to unfinished business. So the only item is Police Service Board policies, no updates at this time. So we can move along. New business. So we do have new business, review of board's procedural bylaw, third and final reading. Bobby, did you want to just review what the addition was? Or the add-in, the change, I guess?
Through you, Madam Chair. Basically, the only changes that were made were in respect to the amount for, I believe it's in part 2 for the reserve fund, and that was it was recommended that the 15,000 be changed to 25,000 to allow for a cruiser.
Okay. All right. Any concerns with those changes? Any comments, questions? Okay, so I am presenting now. So if you have anything you'd like to bring up, speak up, and because I can't see you. Do you have a resolution for that, Bobby?
Yes, that the Aylmer Police Services Board gives third and final reading to bylaw 1-2021 being the board's procedural bylaw.
Okay. Again, any questions, concerns? Could I get someone to move this? And you'll have to speak up because I can't see you.
Pete will move.
Okay, and second.
Bill will second.
All right, and all those in favor? Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
All right, and against? All right, and that is carried. Thank you. All right, moving along, we will move into the reports. So let me just pull up those reports and we can go from there. Chief, if you want to go through these.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, looking at the trial balance, which there's nothing out of the ordinary so far as the finances are concerned on both the Police Services Board and the policing side. Salaries are within a range at 7%. There are some expenditures such as Canada Pension and other benefits associated that are higher than normal, but that's also because it goes down through half a year. Association fees, you'll see at 34%. Again, once they reach that final numbers, then they cap out. Again, operating budget so far for the month of January is at 8%, which is consistent with what we had last year with a larger budget. So I have no concerns as far as the operating budget for the first month. We're definitely on course if we continue on with that trend to be again below the projected. So and I'll be monitoring that as we move forward into the year. Unless somebody has any specific questions with respect to the trial balance, I'll move on to the police budget and the PSB budget.
No questions for me. Anyone else?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
On the police side, again, no issues. We're at 8%. I just talked about some of the expenditures there. On the police services board side of the house, looks like we had association fees, which cost $1,214, which increased the budget or the expenditure significantly. We're at 15% on the police services board side. And nothing as far as the legal fees or any other areas that would cause me concerns. Stationery, office supplies, and that was at 220%. I believe that was to upgrade Bobby's computer. And that's a one-time expense, so we should be good moving forward with that.
Any questions,
any
concerns
questions?
on that? For the association fees, should they be, so the budget was 1,200, the actual was 55, and for 2020, and then the budget for 2021, shouldn't it be the 1,200, and then that would, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah. 'Cause
So
that would
anyway,
change
I'll monitor
the
that, but I'm not
Yep.
sure why that was only $100 there. I'll have to double check. I might have had it 1,000, and it for whatever reason it was put in as 100. So
Sure.
no big deal.
Any other concerns from the board? Okay, seeing none. Go ahead.
Okay, crime prevention. On the crime prevention side, we had one stopper tip for the month of January, one for the year, obviously. Risk meetings, I attended one. Community events, we had 0 for the month of January. Foot patrol hours were good. We had 36 incidents recorded, and officers recorded 32.5 foot beat hours. Park patrols, we had 9, mainly having to do with some of the vandalism that was noted by our park staff, and as a result, we've been monitoring the parks more often or more frequently, and primarily throughout the night. So no issues there. Criminal charges, we had 5 adults that were charged, resulting in a total of 13 criminal code charges. Drug investigations, again, we had 1 with respect to marijuana readily available while operating a motor vehicle. 911 and other calls regarding the assistance, we had 29 calls and 11 hang-ups. Consistent with what we had last year. The good news story here, violent crime, we had none for this for the month of January, which is good. No sexual assaults, no domestics as far as criminal charges, and no crimes against persons. So that was good. We had 1 sexual offender registry completed in the month of January. Property crime, we had 13 incidents, 7.7% clearance rate. That's a significant drop from last year, but last year in January we had significant number of vehicle entries in our community. So that's why you see the numbers so much different. No issues with schools or youth crime. We only had one incident of trouble with youth. And because of COVID and the shutdown of schools, we had no lectures. We are looking at actually doing virtual VIP and Be the Real You training. And I just had one of the officers assigned to see if we can liaison with schools to do virtual on the VIP and Be the Real You program, which will also assist us with the grant money that we received for high school liaison and VIP officer. Situation Hub, we had 4 meetings, or I attended 4 meetings in the month of January. Unsolved follow-up calls, we had 86. Provincial offenses, officers laid 64 traffic charges, 1 liquor charge, and 36 other charges. And again, included in that is the 13 criminal code charges that mainly involved impaired driving, and I believe we had a mischief in there as well, and some charges with respect to intimidation and those kind of things. Road safety, 16 ride checks. We had 661 stops, 15 HTA warnings. The officers completed 5 alcohol standard roadside tests, and that resulted in 1 impaired driver. For the month of January, we had a significant number of impaired drivers apprehended. We had a total of 5. Which again is really good, and we also had the officers do quite a few pay duty ride checks, so that worked out well. And I can tell you that as far as the pay duty for the 2020-21 year, we're actually just slightly over what our allocated budget was, so that's good, because most of the time in the previous years we actually were under what was allotted to us from the province. So this year we're actually slightly over, so that is good, because the officers are doing that service and making sure that we don't have people driving impaired, and secondly, that's what it's designed for, and an expectation from the province, so we met that expectation. No use of force reports were needed this month. Prisoners, we had 5 males and 0 females. All 5 have been released from custody. In-service training, we have commenced that to make sure the officers are up to standards in terms of their use of force requalification. We had 1 officer attend use of force or the in-service training. And again, I talked about the budget already, and no need to talk about it again. We're at 8%, which is consistent with last year. Statistically, we had 192 incidents that the officers responded to. 5 involved traffic enforcement, 3 mental health calls for service, only 4 collisions, 2 domestics, non-criminal code, and 4 assists to the OPP for the month of January. A&D platoons, officers were involved in several emergency order breaches and charges that were laid. There was also intimidation charges laid regarding the incident at Church of God, and a total of 5 impaired driving charges for the month. Platoon C&D officers were busy with emergency order breaches and charging, and also with the operational planning and evidence gathering. And myself and Nick were also involved in the operational planning review and approval of operational plans, and also as critical incident commanders during the service at our local church.
Okay, any
Any
questions or
questions?
concerns on that? Okay,
Okay, moving on to the just the crime trends in the charts. Again, I reported on most of those. There's nothing really that jumps out at me as far as any concerns for the month of January in pretty much every category. Again, the nice stat there was we had 0 crimes against persons, which is good, and only 2 domestics that were only verbal in nature. Motor vehicle collisions, very low number for the month of January. We only had 4, and no concerns whatsoever in any of the other categories. The other report that I had done here for you is the Aylmer Police calls for service by number for the month of January, just to kind of give you a sense of what generally the officers are mainly busy with. The assist calls, followed by laying of actual charges, other provincial statutes. And I can tell you that that number is mainly because of the emergency order, either breaches or reports that people are breaching. Police information, 911 hang-ups, traffic complaints, noise complaints, mischiefs. So again, most of it have to do with the fact that the officers are responding to those community concerns that are non-criminal code related, with the exception of mischief. And other than that, it's no issues as far as any of the calls or anything out of the ordinary there. We did have a significant fraud reported to us in the month of December that was solved in the month of January. It involved a check that was issued for, I believe, around $82,000 to a company in the United States. We were able to track that down as being cashed in Kitchener area. And that was reported to us, investigated. The money was returned to the victim by the bank after joint investigation with their security team. And we passed on the information as far as further investigation into the fraud in Kitchener-Waterloo jurisdiction. So that was good. Any questions on any of the calls? No? Okay. My report as far as the meetings, situation table, MSRIP meeting on the 29th. We're looking at implementing mobile crisis response team, where we'll have the ability to call upon a trained mental health worker. And that's, again, in cooperation with Elgin County OPP. We'll be sharing that resource, which is good. Emergency management teleconference, I was on that on the 8th of January. Southwest Public Health for the 14th, 21st, and the 28th. And I was involved on the 26th of January with the community safety and management meeting and planning. The board has received the 21 presented budget, which is slightly less than what we had last year, and so far everything's on target there. We're also on target for our 2021 3-year business planning cycle. The challenges, obviously, we're having a continuation with the issues around the Church of God, emergency order breaches, which requires us to do regular operational planning and resource deployment to that event. We are capturing all the expenditures related to that particular event, and that's being tracked through county, hopefully as a reimbursement at some point under that COVID expense. The really good news story is we were approved. I already talked about that last month with a provincial grant to enhance our service delivery with respect to training and reduction of victimization around the issue of domestics and sex assaults. We are going to start training some of the officers in those areas, and also some of that money is also assigned to the area of upgrading our system here at the office, like a soft interview room when we have victims of these types of crimes and also children. So we'll be able to spend some money on that, and which is not going to cost the county anything or the town anything. And also upgrading our video footage and cameras and interview processes. That's some of that stuff is aging. Some we have replaced last year, but there's still a little ways to go to make it a real good, solid infrastructure there for those types of investigations. As far as other direct operating expenses, no real issues there. We spent $15,000 on various items that we had to purchase, and most of them are actually just regular expenses that we track throughout the month. And that's my report, Madam Chair.
Any questions, concerns on Chief's reports?
Madam Chair, I do have a couple of questions. I must have been on mute. I didn't ask. I asked them at the time, but didn't get through.
Sorry.
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
First question is, Chief mentioned that there were 4 occasions in which the police assisted the OPP. Were there any occasions in which the OPP assisted the Aylmer police?
I believe they assisted with one where we had an impaired driver by drug, and they were called in just because our expert was not working at the time, so we utilized theirs, and that's a mutual type of an agreement between the two services.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. I noticed last year's budget was set at $2,439,220, and the actual expenditures or the actual budget came in at $2,212,000, which was a savings of about $227,000 based on the budget. Any quick answers as to why we were $227,000 under the budget, which is really good for last year?
I'd like to say good management.
Well, that's fine.
No, I mean, we had some officers that are, they're obviously, when we were talking about budgets, they mainly involve salaries and benefits and those kind of things. As everybody knows, my whole concept of policing is to reduce that as much as we can and look at alternatives to our ability to have the deployment of officers available to the community while looking at efficiencies as well. We have implemented some of that stuff, and that's basically the result of it. Overtime reduction is significant when you look at the previous years prior to 2018, and also we do have some recoveries for officer that's seconded to Ontario Police College. That's a full recovery, which is a savings, and then also our part-time budget was slightly lower than usual, and that's where the savings came from.
And that's the page right there, I think. Yeah, that's great. That's really super to kind of be under budget that much. So that I just wanted to point that out as a comment, as a real plus for, as you say, good management.
I was just joking about that.
No, that's fine.
But it's true. That was always a bit of a sticking point, was, the overtime in past instances were quite high, and with good management, the chief's done a great job of getting that contained. So yeah, it's great. It's great budget, good numbers.
Madam Chair, I have a question for the chief, if I can.
Absolutely.
Chief, marijuana, the use of marijuana has been legalized for a while now. What effect at all, if at all, has it had on policing, other than the readily available in a motor vehicle? Has the usage of marijuana gone up in a negative way, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I can tell you in previous years, we didn't have as many charges related to marijuana. Now the fact that it's legal, people are looking at it from a different perspective in terms of operation of a motor vehicle. Oftentimes, the officers will smell the marijuana, very similar to consuming of alcohol in the vehicle, and that's the reason that that's gone up. From the workload perspective, it actually doesn't increase our workload simply because of the fact that the officer doesn't have to prepare a court brief and go through all the criminal processes. So from that perspective, it's good. On the other hand, now you've got people that are smoking marijuana and possibly operating a motor vehicle, which now you're into the impaired operation by a drug. And hence the reason last year I had an officer who was fully trained as a drug recognition expert. And he has been actually engaged in a few examinations and was able to determine that the persons were actually impaired by drug.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Any other questions on reports for the chief? Okay, seeing none. Bobby, do you have a resolution for reports A to H?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts report items A to H of the February 9th, 2021 agenda.
Okay, and could I have someone move that, please?
Moved by Bill.
Okay, seconder.
Jack?
All right, and any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed? Right, that is carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to incoming correspondence. So typical fashion, we have a chance to read. Chief, was there reports that you wanted to pull to discuss?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, there are a number of them that I want to make sure that the board's aware of. I'm looking at May intake, one position. I have secured a position and just waiting for the OPC to confirm that. And I'll bring the board up to speed as far as that position in the March meeting for approval. Emergency orders, data is submitted as per direction. And also niche reporting. So the officers know how to capture all the information regarding emergency orders, and that data is shared with the province as per their request. The other one that I want to talk about, and I'm not sure if Aylmer does have a bylaw with respect to the off-road vehicles being operated on municipal roadways. That is, there's been some changes in the legislation on the provincial side with respect to that. And what the recommendation is that if we do have a bylaw with respect to the off-road vehicles being operated in town, that we have to take a review of that and make any changes to make sure that we conform to the amendments to the provincial legislation.
Okay.
So that is one of the areas. If I'm not aware of town bylaw having a bylaw specific to off-road vehicles, but if we do, we have to review it.
Okay, we can take note of that as an action item.
Designation under section 25 of the criminal code. I have completed that and submitted a report to the proper authorities that look after that within CISO. Annual report. I'm just starting to work on the annual 2020 report. It will involve the missing persons category as per the legislation, and The report will be completed for your review by April 1st, as per legislation as well.
Okay.
Bail hearings, no issues as far as that particular area. There was a court decision in the Simonelli and Simonelli decision to ensure bail hearings are done in a timely manner, and generally, well, I mean based on the Constitution and person's rights, a person has to be brought before a justice within 24 hours, and we have no issues with that. That's always been our practice, and we had no issues. And that is my report, Madam Chair, with respect to the correspondence that has been received.
Any questions from the board about any of the incoming correspondence, or any comments on any? The only one that I was going to ask about was the missing persons, the report, but Chief talked about that. Anyone else? Okay, let's, Bobby, do you have a resolution for 9 incoming correspondence A to N?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts correspondence items A to N of the February 9th, 2021 agenda with any actions to be taken as noted.
Okay, and I can't see anybody, so you're gonna have to speak up. Do we have a mover for that?
It'll move.
Okay, and seconder?
Toby will second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Yo.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Seeing none. Carry. Okay, so moving on, we will move on to 10, closed session. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adjourns to closed session at 6:02 p.m. for personnel matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees.
Okay, can I have a mover, please?
Bill.
And seconder?
Toby?
All right, and all those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and seeing none, that's carried. Thank you. We'll just give Josh a